Hello and welcome to Life Lives channel. On this episode I'm going to show you how to change the dog bones in your car. In my case it's a 2010 European version Honda Insight, but it's the same process for pretty much any car nowadays. You can do it over an afternoon. I didn't need anybody to help me, so I'm sure you will be okay on your own as well. Basic do-it-yourself tools that you can find around the house will do the trick, and you can save yourself some money. So stay tuned. So now that you've parked the car, make sure that you secure it with a piece of block of wood or something like that. So when you jack the car up, the back tires will not roll down your driveway. So I gave my front tires a slight wash, so things will not be that messy when I'm working with them. First thing you gotta do is make sure that you are loosening all the screws from the hub. So basically when you jack the car up, it's easier to remove the tire. It's always better to do it while the car is still stationary on the ground rather than jacking it up and then remembering, oh, it's so tight, and putting so much useless effort to unscrew them. So if you are a newbie like me and you don't know which side you need to put the pressure on, it's really easy. So once you got your socket on or whatever wheel removal tool that you have, as long as it's a manual tool and it's not an electric one, once you put it on, make sure it's secure all the way in. Basically right hand side and left hand side, righty tighty, lefty loosey. As long as you remember that one, you're good to go. So we're gonna make sure that it is coming up, so I gotta put all the pressure on the left hand side. So lefty loosey and a couple of jiggles, there we go, and so on and so forth. There we go. So now that the car is securely jacked up and off the ground, we're gonna start our fixing process by removing the wheel. So now in here we got obviously the rotor, and if you know it as rotor, we know it as the brake disc or disc brakes, and this is the caliper. Inside it houses the front brakes. This is only a small car, so it has only 4 lock nuts. And let me bring you closer and show you what we're gonna change. So these are some suspension parts. I'm sorry if I've been driving in the mud for a bit and it is not like gonna be really that clean, but this is the part that we're gonna change, and it is known as the dog bone. So it's pretty straightforward. One nut over here and another one over here. So we're gonna lose these two and then bring this one out, put another one in, make sure we fasten it to the owner's manual specific pressure or tightening adjustments or whatever you want to call it, and that's it really. You're good to go. You don't need to touch anything else. One thing that might come handy if you don't have this much space like I do in here to work with, you can rotate the wheel slightly by like using the steering wheel. I'm not gonna advise you to do so, but one man knows what to do when it needs to do it. So that's gonna basically bring this part of the wheel slightly outwards, so you got some space to work around it and like use your tools. So this one is really rusted into place. As I put some pressure on it and tried to unscrew it, it was like rotating the nut and the screw both together. And I've noticed that behind this bit, it goes into this little plastic tubing, which is some sort of like a grease nut. And yeah, inside is well lubricated, but this part of it is like really rusty. So I sprayed some anti-rust on it, and the same thing for the bottom part. I did that as well, waiting for it to does it magic, and then see where we can go with it. One thing that I would advise you to do, if you have a problem like this, it would be ideal to take a look at it the day before you start the project. Just spray your anti-rust on it over the night, let it sit there, and slowly make its way through, so we will have less time to waste basically, and straight away get in there, undo the screw and get on with it. And one more thing, if you got the vice grips, you can, like from the back right here, I don't know if you can see it, but right there you can use the vice grips and get hold of this bit as you screw this part of it. So it would be way easier. You will not have basically a lot of rotation with no unscrewing. That's one thing to bear in mind. And yeah, so let's see how it takes us. I'm just gonna wait and we'll see how it goes. Right, okay, so as you can see, I finally managed to get it all the way down here on the floor. I bumped into some problems. As you can see, I got the angle grinder. That part came out fairly easy. That was the bottom part of the dog bone, and this one was the fair drop side, which was next to the springs and the shock absorbers. I got problems with this one because it was really bad. I mean, I tried to warm this up, I tried to beat it with a hammer, no help. So I ended up ripping up the bowl from inside, used the vice grip on the bowl, but still no budging. So I ended up just getting the good angle grinder and cut it from the side. Yeah, so just be careful with this stuff like that, because you're gonna be spraying a lot of this anti-rust, and that's gonna create the sparks. This one has got petroleum on it, so just be careful. Try to somehow wipe it off or wait for a bit while all the flammable gases are gonna evaporate and that sort of thing. Don't straight away spray something and go with the angle grinder, because you don't want your car to catch fire. One more thing, this is the new one. Obviously, as you can see, I put it next to the other one. Always make sure, if you order online, if you even go to the shops, make sure that you got the right stuff. The only thing that you need to bear in mind, as you can see, this one is slightly thicker than this one. That's not actually the bad thing, that's actually a good thing, because it's beefier, it's chunkier. It means that it can take a beating a little bit even more than this one. One thing that you need to be really careful is the height, because there's no adjustments into these duck bones. They need to be exactly the same heights. Here in Europe we got the millimeters. Just make sure that you follow the same principle and just go with the millimeters. Make sure that it is exactly the same as what your original part comes. This is obviously some other third-party company, but it's exactly the same height. It's slightly beefier, which is a good thing for me. And the diameter on the yeah, I'm running out of the words, on the screws, the diameter on the screws, just make sure that it's the same diameter as what you got on the original part, because you don't want to be drilling into your car or changing other parts just to fit the new part. In my case, it's all good. The new one comes, as you can see, with the locking system on the nuts, I'm just gonna use a little bit more of these Loctite, the blue stuff, not the red one. You want the blue stuff in there. The red one is gonna make it super impossible for the next person who's gonna come and change it, even if it's you or some other mechanics. They're not gonna like it, you're not gonna like it. So as long as you use the blue one, it's gonna be good enough. So yeah, basically we got both parts on the floor. We got the same height, slightly better manufacture than the original part that came with the car. So now there is no bottom or top to these ones. You can install them either way. That one can be on the top or the bottom. That one can be at the bottom or the top. You just put it on, do the screwing, and then with the ratchets, basically you don't need any power tools. Just go ahead and screw them back on. So yeah, after the transition. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't liked this video, if you are stuck and come on YouTube and watch this video, just press the like button, watch it all the way to the end. Hopefully it's gonna be a good help for you. So now we have finally finished this job, almost. We don't have a wheel yet, but as you can see, the new part is installed successfully, and yeah, it was pretty straightforward. One thing that you need to bear in mind is with this new part, I've noticed something. All of that power that I went into waste, if you look over here, I said to you that you need to use a vice grip, hold it from here, then start using your ratchet over here and slowly try to undo this. But look at this. We have an Allen key. We have an Allen key built in. Stupid of me, I've never noticed that. Yeah, with the new ones, it was pretty straightforward. So you put your Allen key in this case, with the European standard, this is number 5. And the new nut was in number 17. The old one that I removed was on 14. As I said, it's slightly beefier, so it requires a bigger nut. But yeah, this was number 17, this was number 5. So I put my Allen key number 5 inside and just use the normal spanner like this. So you twist and you hold with the middle one. And small wink for you guys, as you know, the Allen keys come in really small sizes. So this is mine. Yeah, so as you can see, it's pretty small for that sort of power if you really want to tighten this. So once it comes to an end, and let's just put it in, if I can do it with one hand. Right, so once it is done like that, I use the pipe, which is this one. In my case, it's the handle for my jack. So you just put that one in, hold it in place. It gives you a little bit more leverage, and then you just carry on tightening the nuts with your spanner. So not a big trick, but it might come handy. Now I got this part. I've cleaned my shock absorber a little bit, and yeah, so this part is good to go. I ended up twisting the wheel slightly down this way, as you can see, because I wanted to use the pray bar, and this nut was like straight behind this caliper. I didn't want to make any damage to this, so I ended up basically turning the wheel a little bit so I have access to this. Yeah, it's not gonna be any big job. That you don't need any alignments for this one. As I said, it comes with no adjustments, so once you change the part, you don't need any alignments. You can change only one side as well. You don't need to change both sides, but it is recommended once you change one side, change the other side as well, because there are different manufacturers and different manufacturers do their own adjustments, and it can affect your driving somehow. It can affect the feel of the car somehow. So I didn't need to change both sides. I needed to change only one side, but I ordered the parts. They're pretty cheap here in Europe. I got this part with the nuts, from a good manufacturer for only 12 euros. And yeah, so both parts cost me less than 25 euros for both sides. In US dollar, that would be less than 30 something. I don't know, to be honest with you, but I guess it's less than 30 something dollars. And yeah, so if I can do it, you can do it. It's not gonna be rocket science, and I'm just gonna put the wheel on and do the other side. Thank you very much for watching this. I hope you liked the video. I hope it has been informative for you. This job has been done on the Honda Insight 2010, the European version, not the UK version, not the Japanese version, not the American version, but the European version. But pretty much is the same principle for all cars, for all different brands as well. And as long as you follow this, I think you're going to be good to go and do it on your own car. Thank you. Leave a comment below. How did it go for you? If you want to do it as a weekend project, or maybe in my case, afternoon project. It took me about 2.5 hours to do the whole thing, from parking the car all the way to now, and it's going to take me another 5 minutes to put the wheel on. Thank you.